Could changes be coming in generational studies and reporting? Possibly, kind of. Last month, Pew Research Center released a short read titled, How Pew Research Center Will Report on Generations Going Forward. They also released a couple more, which maybe I'll make other videos on, but this one is something new. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably have heard me reference Pew Research Center, or Pew for short, but I don't often explain what it is, and so you may be wondering why this matters. Pew Research Center is a nonpartisan American think tank. They conduct research, explore trends, and provide reports, etc. The think tank is nonprofit and does not take policy positions. Overall, Pew is considered both impartial and reputable. I first learned about Pew, I think, in grad school, and I reference them here because they explore demographic trends and release content and analysis on and comparing the different generations. In general, I consider Pew to be a better and more reliable source in this area. To a good degree, they've also really defined certain things. The author of the new article, Kim Parker, even states that Pew Research Center has been at the forefront of generational research over the years, that they actively reported on millennials as they came of age, and now they are excited to do the same thing for Generation Z. Though based on the rest of the article, you might see less of that, or it might look a little different sometimes. So what is going on? Basically, Pew plans to make some changes, and they're letting us know what they're doing going forward. When I first saw their Instagram post, I was a little worried that Pew would no longer be conducting and sharing generational analysis. Fortunately, that's not the case. Let's start with why they are making changes though. Today, there's a lot of criticism around the generations and the way they're portrayed, and there's also just a lot of bad content out there on the subject. A separate issue is that survey methods and the way people have been polled has changed over the years. The people at Pew have been taking this in and have decided to reassess things. So here are some changes that will be taking place. 1. They won't be using some past data sets to compare with data they collect today. Some can still be used though. 2. When doing generational analysis, they primarily want to compare people over time at similar life stages. 3. They're going to try to control for other factors such as race and ethnicity more when doing generational analysis. 4. There will be additional times when they will basically totally revamp how they do things in this context, such as not using the typical generational labels and changing years based around the event they're looking at. So let's address each. First, changing survey methods and past data. Over time, the survey methods used have changed, and so Pew is interested in seeing if the phone surveys they've done in the past could be comparable to the online surveys they're doing now. What they found is that some of the surveys they've done in the 80s through 2000s cannot be compared to the surveys they're doing today. Their concern is that people may respond differently based on how they're being interviewed. Fortunately, there is still some data that can be used, but unfortunately, a lot of it will not be used in generational analysis. This is a little unfortunate, but it just shows they're trying to be rigorous and accurate in their research methods, which is ultimately a good thing. 2. Comparing life stages. Pew will only be doing generational analysis when they are comparing people at similar life stages. The author Kim Parker says, when doing this kind of research, the question isn't whether young adults are different from middle-aged or older adults today. The question is whether young adults today are different from young adults at some specific point in the past. If aging in general has an impact on views and behaviors, then doing this same age comparison makes more sense. As an example, when looking through a generational lens, they are more interested in comparing what did baby boomers answer to a certain question when they were 25 to 34 versus millennials when they were 25 to 34, then what are they both answering now? They are going to continue looking at differences between age groups today, but just when viewing it from a generational perspective, they are going to take this same age approach. Obviously, the other comparisons are still useful. The difference is just simply whenever they're taking a generational perspective or not. 3. Controlling for other factors. Demographic factors other than age can also influence behaviors, opinions, thoughts, etc. It's possible that the changing demographics in the US could be influencing some shifts. Greater ethnic and racial diversity could be impacting changes in the US over time, and so Pew wants to use higher level statistics to control for that. Big changes in society, whether social, economic, political, etc., can affect everyone alive at a certain time. When setting the generations, we want to see how one cohort might be uniquely impacted. 4. A whole new approach. Even when Pew is studying similarly aged people over time, they won't always default to using the standard generational definitions and labels. Concerns they have heard include that the current labels are too broad and that narrowing it down may allow the group to have more in common. There is a fair amount of diversity in the experience, behaviors, and opinions within the generations. They want to avoid harmful stereotypes or oversimplifying people's complex lived experiences. It sounds like they may be considering grouping people by decades or by around their age during key historical events or technological changes. This is how generations today are kind of designed to be, but they're factoring in multiple things, and this would maybe focus and hone in on one specific event or change at a time. I don't know if they'll do this, especially the former option, but basically making mini cohorts around specific events is something I consider doing as well. The examples they gave for big events they might use included the Great Recession, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the invention of the iPhone. Similarly, Parker mentioned the idea of grouping people together by when they could first vote in terms of which election when looking at political views. This is something I've seen other people are interested in, so there may be some merit to that. We'll see. Basically, in the future, Pew Research Center says they will only talk about generations when it adds value, advances important national debates, and highlights meaningful societal trends. So like if you found this interesting, and if you haven't already, subscribe if you want to see more content on the generations. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you next time.